Hello, everyone. It's awesome to be here today. Wow, that is a large picture of my face. I am Janine Leger, the founder of Edge City, and we focus on building society incubators that are focused on bringing together people from tech, science, and society that want to build a techno-optimistic future. I'm a passionate community builder for positive change. In the past, I've focused on doing that through building Zuzulu with Vitalik Buterin, to leading the public goods funding workstream at Gitcoin, a crypto project, building decentralized talent networks, and helping build healthy communities in the US. So what are pop-up villages? Let's dive in. The idea of pop-up cities came to be with Zuzulu last year. It was a 2-month-long experiment that we ran in Montenegro. You'll hear a lot more about it later today, so I'm going to dive right in. We were inspired by Zuzulu. We turned it into a decentralized network at the end of last year. So in January, we started Edge City. And when thinking about, what were we going to call this thing? Edge City became the name because the idea of living on the edge of what's normal is really appealing. Living in a place where tech, culture, health, and new ideas are adopted faster than anywhere else in the world. It's a place where far out there thinkers are excited to be, because building the future is a lot easier when you're living in it. Think about the idea of sitting down at breakfast and having a long debate about consciousness and AI versus listening to a far-flung podcast on your way to the office about it. It hits differently. Edge City is focused on building these 1 to 2 month pop-up villages at the moment. The idea is that we're bringing together a bunch of interesting people from around the world using technology. Essentially, there's no other way in the past that we would have easily been able to get people from all over. And the idea is bootstrapping a global network through going to different places at different times. To date, we have done 3 experiments so far. We did 2 in the US earlier this year and incubated a project called Aleph Crecimiento, which is a movement in Argentina focused on driving crypto adoption. We have another on the way called Edge City Lana that'll be hosted in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and that's going to be October 10th to November 10th. Anyone here is welcome. And this will be my 6th pop-up village that I have helped with to date. What we've found is building across the world, from Montenegro to Istanbul to the US, now to Chiang Mai, as well as what we did in Argentina, has been a great way to bootstrap this global network. But each of these are unique. As you saw, they have different names, they've got different branding. We want them to have their own community and cultures, but there's a through line that we have going throughout, and we've got a couple of core goals that I'm going to go through. One of the values is a focus on health and well-being. At Edge Esmeralda this year, we had someone who ended up staying an extra 3 weeks because she attended the run club every morning and found that she ran an extra 15 miles every week and improved her running mile time by 3 minutes. It was a game changer for her physical health. Beyond running, we've got a lot of things that we're focused on when it comes to health and well-being. We're thinking about making health the default environment so that each individual doesn't have to think so much about the many, many interventions that you have to do on a daily basis. This goes from having healthy meals that are seed oil free, organic, and locally sourced when possible, making sure that the culture is built around activity and not being a priority over late night times drinking, doing things like daily workouts, having things like circadian light bulbs, getting people wearing blue light glasses at night and thinking it's cool. That's just going to be a part of an Edge City environment. Nick Foley, one of our attendees at Edge Esmeralda this year, built these solar A-frames during the course of the month. He found that it was something that he couldn't do without being at Edge Esmeralda. It was this opportunity where he could pull in really interesting people and people that were high agency that wanted to help build the project. By the end, these solar A-frames became beloved by the entire community, with many people contributing. And in the last week, we had a whole future food night market that were hosted with the solar-powered generators. Overall, there's this real importance of building and co-creating. We pride ourselves on trying to push the idea of workshops, of lectures, of getting people to work on projects together where possible, and dog-fooding the new ideas and initiatives that people are bringing to the table to accelerate progress together. We're also focused on building multi-generational environments. Heck, how are we going to build the future without including kids? It's an important piece. Ultimately, what we found is that right now, we're super segregated in terms of how much time adults are spending with young kids that aren't their own children. And we're really trying to think about changing that, as well as including elderly that typically don't have a place to continue their learning and growth. Little Win, the 2-year-old in the third image over here, she came as a shy individual to Edge Esmeralda. And over the course of the month, she went from screaming at new people that she saw saying shy to sharing popsicles with everyone by the third week. She went from shy to sociable within a month. So I've mentioned a lot about Edge Esmeralda. This was one of our first successful long-term pop-ups that we had. It was a full month in Healdsburg, California. But why California? A lot of you in here are like, let's exit the US. Ultimately, if we're trying to work, thank you. We'll get there. If we're trying to work with people that are working in the frontiers of technology, there's this humility of going to them to start with. Healdsburg is about an hour and a half north of San Francisco. So it's a big focus of an easy way to get people out and imagine what's possible. We have many of these people that are now excited to come to Chiang Mai, others that are going to the network school, others that came down to Argentina. It's a way of getting people out of their comfort zone that could potentially help lead this movement moving forward. In addition, we look for local partners that we're excited to work with. And Devon Zugal is a city builder that I admire. She is thinking about building a city in Northern California, and we wanted to help make it possible. Healdsburg is one of the closest towns to where she's going to be building this future city, so it made it an easy place to integrate with. In addition, I'd been spending Thanksgivings in Healdsburg since 2017, so I had a little bit of a sense what the locals were like. Overall, we had 1,300 people come through from all age groups. We had 550 different sessions hosted by 150 different people. That's this real focus on emergence and the multidisciplinary side of things. In addition, we had people eating seed oil-free meals, and 3 of the restaurants in Healdsburg ended up going seed oil-free, and during the time, we had 10 different restaurants that were seed oil-free. In addition, we had people doing blood tests, we had people using bird bikes and having walkability. So across the board, we felt that it was a real success. We had a number of different themes to bring in that multidisciplinary approach across human organization, AI, crypto, health, and longevity. We had weekly workshops that were super fun and engaging. Every week was a different theme, and across the board, a few that I would highlight would be the lab week. It was a crazy, far-flung way into the future. I went from walking into a 10-person workshop on cryotherapy to the next day talking about neurotech and what's going to happen in the future with what's going to be in our brains. It was fascinating because each of these workshops created totally different learning environments. And we really pushed participants to think about what is the best way that you want to learn. And that might be different to a conference. Something that is really important about what we did was this focus on leaving Healdsburg better than when we left it. Ultimately, we really wanted to make sure that the locals were excited about what we did. We came in with slightly skeptical locals, and on the flip side, when we exited, people were so excited to have us back and are even more excited to see Esmeralda become a city in the future. This is a slightly different approach, but who knows, being able to see what people do with integrating versus exiting in some of these network state projects is interesting. Edge City is focused on having a global approach. This is a map of where we've been and where we're going to go in the next year. We hope to keep expanding it. Ultimately, we recognize that there are so many brilliant people around the world and different cultures to learn from and grow with, as well as locals to inspire to drive change in their own countries. Up next, we have Edge City Lana. This is going to be what we do in Thailand, and we would love many of you to join. I'm going to sort of leave that up for a second, but I'm going to get into the exciting themes. Across the board, we'll have things from health and biotech in the first week to a focus on this like cities of tomorrow track that we're developing, going into neurotech, consciousness, and AI, and then we've got a lot more on the crypto and cryptography side for the final week. That said, we're also running these month-long tracks because we want to experiment with what learning looks like as a depth across one field the entire month, so that's going to be something new. And we're also doing a lot of experiments with new technology. So those who join, get excited. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight being here with you guys today. Follow along at edgecity.live. We're at V0.1 or V0.01 of our journey. It's going to be fun. We hope that you're inspired to join us. Thank you.